sorting through my wiring, and before I go too far, I'm noticing just there's so many variations. So I've set up one of my wiring harnesses on the bench here. This is the points one. It's not one I'm going to use, but it's the one I think I have the most parts of. So yeah, there's the coil, and that's the wires. I found those. That's to the tail light. That's to the battery, a green, and the two different reds. Indicator, winker relay, rectifier, regulator, rectifier, ignition to the alternator, and neutral lights, points. Coming up to the headlight, now I've got my little set of dash lights, indicator that it's flashing, and neutral light that it's on, lights, high beam. That's my light globe for the high beam. Coming around here, horn, brake light switch, and all the indicators and everything. That's the two indicators. Single ones go to, they should have a wire hanging out the end there. That one's sort of snapped off. And then you've got my left one and my right one. Now, after testing the CDI wiring loom with a multimeter, things just weren't working out right. The black and white wire for the kill switch wasn't coming out at either end where it's supposed to. The earths are not working properly. There's a yellow wire here that's not coming out up at the handlebars for the headlights it's supposed to. So I pulled the tape off it, and the first thing I found is that this black and white one for the kill switch is just corroded off. It's just fallen off, broken. I've got to check out, this is a major earth link. I've got to check that out. There's a yellow here that goes into the browns for the tail lights and stuff like that. Brown is lights, your general lights, and yellow is AC from the generator going straight to the lights. So the lights are fed off AC before it, but then it joins up again, I think, later on, and then goes to the regulator rectifier. So there's just problems with the wiring harness, so I have to chase everything down and do some repairs. Just so you know how I do these wiring harness repairs, this was the black and white one, that the kill switch basically, and the joiner it had was corroded off, and these two just broke away. So because I had to cut the wire back to the corrosion was gone, because the copper was black, so I had to cut it back a little bit. I've got to put a piece in. So I checked out the width, thickness, and got the same gauge. So these two have to join together, and how I do that is I get these regular type of clips, you know, that you have, and I cut the end off there, which then makes it like this, and then you put it in this little handy dandy machine here, which is not, it's fiddly work. Okay, so you put it in there like that. Oops, the light's not too good. See there, like that, and you press it. And it flies away at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but basically, you know how you see every little joint they have these days is bent over like that. Just get some focus on that. Every little joint that's bent over, it's done like that. So yeah, she looks good. I'm glad I got that little machine. Anyway, once I've done that, I flux it. I put a bit of flux on there, and I solder it because it's had the corrosion on there. I just want to put a bit of solder in there. You don't normally have to, but I just want to. Then I have some heat shrink already up the tube, slide it down, heat it up, put it on there. So I end up with like a flexible joint for the most part. Just want to give you an idea of the kind of trouble I'm having with this handlebars. I guess because it's 40 years old or something like that, but my horn, I can't make the horn work. Like I can trace the wire, it's green wire. I put it to a light and make the other one go to power. So all the green wire does for the horn is all it has to do is earth out, right? Comes along and goes into the switch block. There's the green wire, and it goes to the horn button. Just that little square module there. Just press, and it's just supposed to earth out. Now, for the first thing, okay, so I put the multimeters on the green wire, on just this end of the green wire, just in there, and put one end of the multimeters and the other end of the multimeters down there, and the wires there, like it's 100% flowing. So the next thing I do, okay then, so is this earthed? And I can get, well, this can be earthed, and it all earths out, so I don't know what's going on there. So I'll take that out, and I'll take that out, and I'll clean the thread around down there, clean that thread off there, and I'll clean this thread off here. And when I take that out, that'll allow me to, these wires then won't be constrained. That'll allow me to lift that up a little bit. So I'll take this block out, and I'll see what's going on. I've given that a really good spray, and then I'll spray the lanolin just to juice it up a bit. Maybe the lanolin's interfering, I don't know, but that is clean looking now. Before it was just all dirt, mank and dust and stuff like that. But well, I'll come back to you when I've taken that out and we'll have a look at it. Well, I've taken it out. It came out easy enough. There's a little screws for it, and my ohms meter is flashing saying it's doing nothing at the moment. But look, I just put that through that screw hole there. If I touch it on there, yeah, it works. If I touch it on the actual thing, nothing. I touch on the outside, even though it's all one piece of metal, it's not reading from there to there. So that little bit of corrosion, surface corrosion it's got on it, is enough to stop that thing from working. And if I take that off, it's just the button. That's the bit, that end there touches the other side. So the spring is meant to put earth through that. And oops, I want to get that off there. So basically what happens when you push the spring, this reads to the green wire, and all that spring is supposed to do is transfer the earth from up here to the top of the spring, which puts on that little button, and then as you press it, it transfers the earth over. So this kind of corrosion from 40 years of sitting around is really stuffing the wiring up everywhere. Every single terminal has got to be gone over like that and just cleaned off and start again. And that's so what you got to do. I'm going to get the rust off. I've given everything a little coat of rust converter. First off, I've just given a little wire brush and wire brushed all the parts. Then dabbed with a paintbrush rust converter onto that, and as you can see, that's changing it. So there's no more rust on that. That's coming off. The parts in there, they're no longer rusty. It's all done now. It's all cleaned up. Little spring in there. It's a little copper spring. That's just bright copper colour now, so that's nice. There's no rust anymore that you can see. I've got the multimeter just sitting against there. It's not even hard pressed, so just have a look. So if I touch it on here, yep, it's flowing. Touch it on here, yep, it's flowing. Let that get back, settle down again. And if I touch it on the green wire, nothing. So it's not shorting out in there, so that's all good. So I'm having trouble getting good connections on my power things, and I'll give an example. Like, oops, where is it? Here. These are old. They're dirty. I've already parts cleaned them, but they doesn't seem to be working. They're just not getting a connection. Like, some of them don't look too bad, but others are shocking. So what I've done is, you can see these ones. They don't look too bad. So what I figured I need to do is, there we go. See, this one's dark. It's not so good. I noticed when I was doing that other thing that, where am I? I'm just trying to look in here. If I dip this in that, if I dip that into the rust remover, just hold there for a few seconds, it starts to bubble after a while, and I'll just let that go. Then I'll get the other parts, the other ones here, let's see, yep, and then I'll just dip these in. Spray with parts cleaner just to get the get the water out of it. Once I've done that, I just give it just a little spray with lanolin. Just rub the lanolin in a little bit. And that's it. Have a look at the difference. So that's... No, the lighting's not good at the moment, but anyway, that's cleaner. Cleaner than what it was, so that's what I'm doing to every single one. I also want to run LEDs on everything. It causes a problem with the wiring. LEDs only want to run power one way, and they don't let it go back, and it causes some problems. Like when I put the indicators on one way, fair enough, that'll light up and it'll flash the back one, and it'll flash this way, it'll flash this one. But there's a light for the dash light that has, for the normal type of indicators, one wire going to the left and one wire going to the right. Then the beeper has one wire going to the left and one wire going to the right. And on a normal flasher relay with normal globes, that's okay, because the globe ultimately goes to an earth. So it'll still pick up an earth. When you put flashing on one side, it'll pick up an earth, flashing on the other side, it'll pick up an earth, but it really messes up LEDs and the flashes don't work. I've also put a balance resistor in there, which is another way, like the indicator wire comes along, goes into here, and then keeps on going. But at the same time, a wire comes off and that takes it through to earth. So it just gives it an illusion that there is an ordinary light globe in the system. So what I've had to do is I've got these little diodes, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just doing it the best I can. These diodes are tiny, and they're normally straight edges on there, so I just bent it like this, hooked it around, hooked the wire around, then soldered it. So bent like this, hooked this wire and that around, then soldered it, and then I'll put this bit of shrink wrap over the top, heat it down, and that'll just seal it all off. It'll come along, go through the diode, and then go to the light globe or the beeper, and it won't matter that it won't backway, because that'll go to earth, the beeper that'll go to earth, and this will come in power, but it won't backtrack. So that'll work. So I've got the non-backtracking wire there, and the balance resistor, which tricks it into thinking that it's got an ordinary light globe, so there's enough draw on it to make it work properly, and that should make it work. I'm going to do a full demo of the whole wiring harness when I'm finished. This is what it looks like when I'm finished. So that's not very big, but that should be strong enough. It doesn't want to bend, it'll protect it. Now that'd be pretty good. And I'm really glad I got these little connectors and this machine here, because it really allows you to make good quality connections. It's pretty good, and I've had to make quite a few of them. Okay, I've done it. This is a CDI wiring harness, a late model one as far as the Japanese postie motors go, and it's a 6-volt points model handlebars, and I've been able to marry the two together. I've been very colour correct. I've kept the same colour so that someone down the road comes along and tries to work out what I've done electrically, they should be able to follow it. I've had to change a few things. I've still got that's the wires that go into the motor. I'm going to put a different plug on there because they're all corroded. Talking of corrosion, I've had so many broken wires inside here. The wires look just fine, but the inside is broken. I think about 5 of them I had to chase down and repair. Anyway, all part of the fun and games. This is just the flasher relay, points, CDI, regulator, rectifier. I'm going to have a couple of extra power ones because I've got some bigger things to run yet. This will go rear brake through to the tail light assembly. It's a little bit rusty and old and knackered, but it works. Coming around here, I've got my dash lights, the ones that go on the speedos. The only thing I don't have, I have my high beam, but it takes a very small globe for the 6-volt system, and I can't find a very small 12-volt LED. Can't even find a small 12-volt. So anyway, these are all converted to LEDs. Headlight is an LED. all the indicators are LED, so everything's LED. I'm trying to save as much power because I've still got a lot of stuff to hook up yet. There's no point hooking up my extra things yet because I really don't know where they're going to sit, but I've got to start a starter relay for the electric start. I've got a start button. I've got that temperature gauge thing. I've got the thermostat controller. I've got an immobilizer, so I'm only 2 meters from the bike and it'll be powered. I've got a boost gauge. I've got a daytime running lights. That's another kind of speed tacho. That's a tacho. That's a different kind of tacho. I don't know which one I'm going to run yet. Anyway, I'll just set this up over here and I'll run through it. Lights off. Whoops. Park lights. Going dash light and headlight. High, low. Okay, lights back off again. Indicators right. Dash, beeper. Yep, horn. And last of all, there's another one up here, but another one. Ooh, brake light. This is the only odd one. I do not know. I think the fault's in here somewhere. Somehow it's crossed over, but it's a minute problem, so I won't worry about it. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've got the wiring harness going. I'm not going to worry about that stuff yet, but I really don't know where I'm going to be putting them. But I'm not going to tape up the wiring harness either because I've got wires to add to it yet. So that I've got it going. That's the main thing.